This video is going to show you how to use the Fillet and Chamfer tools in Fusion 360. These are very easy, very simple tools to use, and the applications for them are pretty simple, but we'll see a few different ways that they can be used. So let's see what these can do. So I'll create a new sketch. I need to get an object in here that I can start playing around with. Now the Fillet tool can be found in both the 2D sketch environment as well as the 3D environment, and we find that right up here. It's F on your keyboard, or you can grab it from the menu. And when we click on the Fillet tool, we are prompted to select some edges. We can either apply fillets by selecting individual edges, and then we can change the radius of those corners by dragging the arrow in or out or typing in a specific radius. We can also select more than one edge if we want to apply a fillet to multiple edges at once. We can do that. This might be a handy way to do something like this, round over a corner instead of doing the rounding in a two-dimensional sketch. Alternatively, if you don't want to have to select all of the edges that go around a surface, but you do want to put a fillet on them, you can just select the surface, and then when you change the size of the radius, every edge connected with that surface will adjust as a result. Fillets can also be used on interior edges like this one, where you can create an interior rounded edge like that, and then as a result, that would change the behavior if I wanted to come along later and apply a fillet to this edge. Now I've got one continuous loop. So fillets will try to find a continuous path between edges if the tangent chain option is checked. If the tangent chain option is not checked, and then you go to select an edge like this one that does have tangent curves that it could jump onto, without that option checked, it will just try to fillet this one edge, which it's not able to do. If I select a few surfaces with my fillet tool that meet in a corner, there is sort of a style choice that you can make here. What we're seeing right now is called a rolling ball, where as it meets the corner, the fillet shapes itself almost like it's a ball rolling around all of these corners. Alternatively, we could select setback, which is sort of blending those three curves together, and we get a little bit of a different visual appearance there, where the corners of the surfaces are rounded off instead of being left rectangular like this. A chamfer works just a little bit different. I have to drop the modify panel down to find this one. A chamfer knocks a corner down at an angle, so it's like a fillet except that it will take that corner down in a straight line like this instead of as a rounded corner. And we see this in lots of designs. Sometimes it's just meant as a way to sort of reduce weight, or as a way to take the 90-degree corner off of something that could be brittle. We see this a lot in concrete. If you've ever seen a outdoor ramp or planter or staircase, very often the corners of the concrete will have a chamfer on them so that they're not going to be as likely to crumble off and get brittle when things run into them. Like the fillet tool, we can select entire surfaces and we can apply chamfers to them the entire way around. There are a couple of different types here. We will usually use them as equal distance, where it's going to create a 45-degree angle, basically going in and going down the same distance. We can set that to two different distances, though, if we don't want a 45-degree angle and we want two different distances, or if we want to define a specific angle and one of the two leg distances, we can choose that as well. Also, like the fillet tool, we have the option to apply or remove the tangent chain so that it will either apply a chamfer to a specific single edge that we select, or to any of the edges that are tangent and continuous to that line. Also, like the fillet tool, we have a little bit of an option about style-wise what that corner would look like if I selected all three of these edges for a chamfer. Right now it is choosing to knock that corner off and basically make the corner its own little chamfer. I can change that to a miter, in which case each of those angles will come all the way out to the end at which they meet, or I can choose to blend them where it knocks the entire corner down as a little bit more blunt of a shape. I'll keep that on chamfer. beyond these sort of obvious applications for fillets and chamfers, there are other ways to use these in designs. Like if, for instance, we wanted to model some rectangular metal stock, I could create the interior walls of that stock looking like this, and within the 2D sketch environment we have the fillet tool here, so I can apply a fillet to these four corners before even doing a 3D operation. I can offset that, and now I have a profile to extrude. And if I wanted to model this rectangular tubing being assembled together into some kind of a weldment or frame, I can easily do that with the chamfer tool. So going back to chamfer, I can basically use this to apply a miter. So if I uncheck tangent chain, I'll get what I want. I'll show you what it looks like this way. If I select with tangent chain applied, it's going to try to chamfer this entire ring here because I have continuous curved tangent arcs and lines, and that's not what I want. So I'll uncheck tangent chain and just select the one edge that I want. And with that, I can essentially miter this entire piece of metal stock using a chamfer. And if I had other miters to do in other places that used the same distance, I could do all of them at once by selecting all of those edges and then assigning my distance. So there's a couple of different ways to use the fillet and chamfer tools. Hopefully you find that useful. Thanks for watching.